If you hold a pin and stretch your arm towards the starry sky, in that tiny area occupied by the pinhead, there is an image that contains 10,000 galaxies, and each galaxy has an average of 100 billion stars. Now imagine how many pinheads fit into your view of the night sky amidst this vastness. What if we could tell you everything? The entire journey of the rise of consciousness from the atom to God, starting from the simplest consciousness in the universe to the ultimate supreme consciousness we might call God. Have you ever stopped to think what our consciousness was before we were even human? And what next stages our consciousness must traverse to one day unite with the great divine consciousness? In this video, we'll explore all these questions in an epic blend of science and spirituality, unraveling the mysteries of the journey of consciousness from the atom to God, boldly going where no man has gone before. Before we embark on our journey, we need to quickly understand one crucial thing. Who are you truly?
So I started to study myself. I found most people don't know who they are. They really don't.
What do you mean? I mean, I know my name, I know my age, I know where I live.
Yeah, that's not
what
you,
else
though.
is there?
You know, that's
what
just
size,
it. If you ask the average person who they are, they'll give you their name. They'll say, I'm Bob Proctor, but I'm not. Bob and Proctor are two words. My parents give them to me. They're called names, but it's not me. It's my name.
Let's delve beyond the superficial layers of our identities and beyond our mental, spiritual, and emotional bodies. At the heart of it all, we find one thing: consciousness. Consciousness is not just a byproduct of the human brain. It is the fundamental basis of reality. It is what has always existed before any creation in the universe. This primary consciousness, which originated everything and permeates all, is what we might call God. With this explanation in mind, we can now return to our journey through divine knowledge and the awakening of consciousness. What you are witnessing is the universe's tiniest spark of consciousness, the atom. You might think that this minuscule particle, millions of times smaller than a grain of sand, couldn't possibly possess consciousness. But appearances can be deceiving. In fact, to put it in perspective, the atom is 30 billion times smaller than a grain of sand. There are more atoms in a grain of sand than there are grains of sand on planet Earth. And if the entire universe is self-aware, its smallest building block could not be an exception. The thinker Alice Bailey, author of the book The Consciousness of the Atom, has demonstrated through experiments like the double-slit experiment the existence of a primordial form of consciousness within atoms. This experiment reveals that the mere act of observing an electron, which is one of the subatomic particles of the atom, can influence its behavior. In the absence of observation, the electron behaves like a wave. However, when we attempt to observe it, it behaves like a particle. And if everything is connected, your consciousness is directly influenced by mine and by all others in the universe. Despite our perception of separation, everything in the universe is part of one singular entity. Fascinating, isn't it? But while we marvel at the mysteries of the subatomic world, prepare to adjust your magnifying lens as we embark on even more advanced levels of consciousness. Our journey is just beginning. Crystals can be seen as carriers of a primordial consciousness, a memory of the earth, so to speak. Since ancient civilizations, crystals have been regarded as keepers of secrets. Indeed, many ancestral peoples recognized this consciousness in crystals and used them in rituals and healing practices. Just as radios tune into different frequencies to access different stations, crystals vibrate at their own energetic station. This is the foundation behind crystal therapy, which utilizes them to tune and amplify human energy frequencies, aiding in the harmonization of energies, balancing of chakras, and assistance in healing. It is for all these reasons that crystals and the entire mineral kingdom are considered the first major manifestation of consciousness after atoms. Now prepare yourself, as the quantum leap will be significant. From the silence of stones, we will dive into the mysterious consciousness of plants, getting ever closer to the supreme consciousness of God. As we move from mineral consciousness to plant consciousness, The primary shift we observe is vitality. This brings the ability for growth, regeneration, and reproduction. In plant consciousness, we also find traces of mobility, as evidenced by how plants lean towards light. And if you think they are inert and passive, you might be surprised to learn that beneath those roots, there's extensive communication happening among these beings. Studies have shown that plants have the capacity to communicate with each other. For example, when a tree is attacked by herbivores, it can release signals that alert neighboring trees about the impending danger. In response, the nearby trees start producing chemicals to make themselves less appetizing to the predators. They also possess a kinship system. That is, when planted near their relatives, they compete less for vital resources, indicating a familial relationship. Consciousness spends a long journey within the plant kingdom, and its evolution occurs over millions and millions of years within this very realm, starting as simple algae and evolving into majestic giant trees. And it's only after its evolution in this stage is complete that, through a process still mysterious and enigmatic, something stirs in the shadows of cosmic consciousness. A new quantum leap, a new horizon opens up. We now enter the fascinating animal consciousness. Did you know that animals such as elephants have mourning rituals, and that crows are known for conducting funerals? Crows gather around the deceased crow to pay tribute in an act of respect and mourning. Animals have their own spiritual journey. Like us, they also have souls, reincarnate, have chakras, and are highly sensitive, loving, and conscious, which is why it's important to respect their evolutionary journey, never mistreating or exploiting them for our own consumption. In some cases, animals possess a spiritual sensitivity greater than many humans, such as horses that detect diseases in humans, or dogs that perceive events before they even happen, and of course, the great mediumship of cats. When consciousness moves from plants and manifests in animals, it doesn't start with the complexity of, for instance, a dolphin's consciousness, which can even recognize itself in a mirror, or primates that use tools in complex ways. They begin in simpler stages like reptiles, insects, and go through various stages for thousands or even millions of years, until finally reaching the consciousness of, for example, your dog, who looks at you with eyes that seem to know all the deepest secrets of your soul. But in light of all this, will animals one day evolve to become humans? Yes and no. The idea that animals will evolve to the point of being born as human beings is widely defended, for example, in Spiritism, Buddhism, and Hinduism, especially animals that live and learn daily with humans like dogs and cats. But to say that all animals will have to incarnate as humans is a generalization that is not correct. There are various species of animals that will follow other evolutionary lineages, but one thing is certain: all of them are evolving. And speaking of evolution, our next stage is considered the apex of it. However, you will see that we, human beings, still have to evolve through several mysterious stages until we unite with the great divine consciousness. Even while we are incarnated on Earth, we can achieve significant leaps in the expansion of consciousness. However, just as there is a vast diversity in the manifestation of consciousness in animals, within human consciousness, there are also great discrepancies. While some are stagnant in their evolution, others are achieving enlightenment in life. But how did our consciousness manifest before we were even human? Well, remember when we said that in the beginning of the universe, everything was consciousness? So if we go back to the first origin of our consciousness, we will find the very consciousness of God. And this consciousness divided itself into everything that exists, from the first divisions, which are the consciousnesses closest to the source, which we will address in the next stages, to the very last division, which, as you well know, is the atom. And from there, this consciousness has been evolving, passing through the mineral, plant, animal, and now here we are, incarnated as human beings, living an experience on the surface of this blue planet. And although human consciousness is considered by many as the apex of evolution, most of the time we are not really conscious. And I'm not just talking about being distracted or inattentive. No, I'm talking about pure cognitive blindness. We believe our decisions are entirely conscious and autonomous. However, a large percentage of our actions are driven by automatic processes of our subconscious. We are, in many ways, puppets of our own brains. And even when we believe we are making our own decisions, we are being guided by a conditioned self, old scripts and mental constructs hidden deep in our subconscious. But what can we do in this life to continue evolving and reach stages ever closer to God? Well, we could summarize the entire goal of human development and self-knowledge by just understanding the message that one of the most evolved beings to ever walk the earth tried to teach us over 2,000 years ago. And so far, it seems humanity has not learned, which is love. If we truly learned the true love taught by Jesus, all other aspects of our purpose here on earth would come as a consequence. And thus, our path to God would be ready to continue being explored. It's up to us, with our free will, to transcend selfishness, pride, envy, and let universal love vibrate within us. And only then will we obtain the key that will open the entrance to our next stage of the ascension of consciousness. Let's consider the next great leap of consciousness, the stage where we use another body for the manifestation of consciousness, the astral body. A subtler body, used as a vehicle of consciousness to navigate the spiritual plane. This will be the body we inhabit after the departure from physical life. However, simply leaving the physical body and using the astral body does not necessarily expand consciousness. For example, we can observe from the millions and millions of beings who, after leaving their bodies through physical death, continue to experience extreme pain, attachment, suffering, resentments, and lack of lucidity. This shows us that in this body, duality still exists, where the majority of unbalanced beings inhabit a lower astral plane, and others who left their bodies in a lucid, balanced manner and sought evolution without any attachment to the material plane, inhabit a higher astral plane. It's in this stage that our consciousness truly expands, being able, for instance, to move easily, feel emotions much more amplified with feelings of love, peace, harmony, or any other sentiment much more intense than anything we've felt while incarnated. You know that great love for your child, sibling, or partner. In the astral, this feeling is amplified by 4 or 5 times. We also have a great facility for communication through telepathy. Imagine yourself on a sunny summer day, listening to Coldplay lying on the grass in your garden and wanting to ask for a cold lemonade. In the physical plane, you would have to, for example, pick up your phone, send a message, or worse, call someone in the house. But with telepathy, just a directed thought almost instantaneously does the job. Someone in the house picks up on your desire and can bring the drink to you, or, due to the commonality of materialization in astral consciousness, you can simply materialize the lemonade right in your hand with the power of your mind without bothering anyone. That's if you still have worldly desires, as human necessities like hunger and thirst are no longer needed in the astral plane. At this stage of consciousness, where roughly 95% of spiritualist literature and personal experiences through astral projection end, we are about to cross a special line that many do not cross for never caring to explore realities beyond human comprehension. But not you. If you've come this far, it's because your heart vibrates for the mysterious. Your soul is too deep to be content with mediocre knowledge disseminated to the masses. If this knowledge touches you in some way, please leave a like below. It will greatly help in spreading spiritual astronomy. And if you like this theme of video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to follow more videos like this one. Now, as we said in the beginning, we will travel where man has never been, or at least where man has forgotten that he has been. Over time, depending on an individual's spiritual development, karmic influences, and also free will, the astral body is discarded, and consciousness moves to an even higher plane or dimension called the mental. This is a natural process, akin to how a snake sheds its skin. The shedding of the astral body symbolizes the release of emotions and desires more closely tied to the astral plane. This process is often referred to as the second death. Consciousness in the mental dimension is divided into 2 levels: the lower or concrete mental, primarily linked to our reasoning capacity, and the higher or abstract, also known as causal mental, which is connected to our grand thoughts, inspirations, and insights. However, As we are discussing stages of consciousness, we will treat the mental stage as a whole. Here the being engages in a deeper form of introspection and learning, centered on understanding and wisdom, rather than emotions and desires. In the mental plane, consciousness unfolds in ways almost incomprehensible to the human mind, which is limited by three-dimensional reality. Here, the linearity of time dissolves. Instead of experiencing past, present, and future as distinct sequences, an individual might perceive events from multiple timelines simultaneously. Our consciousness no longer has form or size, allowing, for example, a 360-degree vision. Moreover, the capacity for manifestation in the mental plane is drastically enhanced. Thoughts and intentions are powerful in this dimension. What is visualized or conceived clearly in the mind can manifest almost instantaneously. And all your favorite memories, whether from this life or past lives. While in the physical plane they may fade or become distorted over time, with mental consciousness, all these memories are available in vivid detail, allowing not just to remember, but to relive these memories again. Another magnificent aspect is that our communication transcends even telepathy, often utilizing sacred geometry for this purpose. For example, I want to tell you a story about when I got my first video game. Notice that if I speak word by word, it would be a slow and not entirely accurate form of communication compared to what I truly experienced. Instead, I launch a geometry of information to you, and you instantly see everything I saw and felt. You feel the same euphoria and excitement I felt, and even my frustration at not being able to pass a difficult level of the game. But if this is already incredible and far beyond our comprehension today, then just wait to see the next stage our consciousness will one day reach. As we draw closer to the divine, each step on the journey becomes more exhilarating. Knowing of the magnificent journey that awaits us makes us see the world with renewed eyes. The knowledge from this video not only uplifts us, but transforms the way we live. It makes us value and appreciate each moment as a precious part of our evolution towards the divine. And if in the mental consciousness we were already impressed with all those possibilities, Buddhic or soul consciousness shows us that even with that unimaginable expansion of mental consciousness, we were still just a small, humble drop. But now, that drop is beginning to merge with the ocean. Buddhic or soul consciousness is often associated with the intuitive plane, where understanding is no longer mediated by thought. Here, truths are instantly perceived in an intuitive manner, and if the mental plane is an immersion in pure thought, the Buddhic plane is a fusion with the true nature of being. In this state, we not only draw closer to the creative source, but also begin to experience existence as a direct extension of that source. Here, the duality, so prevalent in lower dimensions, begins to dissolve. The sense of self and others disappears, giving way to an expansive feeling of unity with the entire universe. And if you're tired of reincarnating, then the Buddhic plane is for you. Those who reach this level of consciousness are beyond the cycle of birth and death, now feeling our real purpose, not just a life purpose, but a purpose of existence, Buddhic consciousness that we find our Akashic records, like a vast ethereal library cataloging the entire history of the universe. But don't think of them as books on shelves. It's more like an interconnected web of information that vibrates at the essence of reality. Every action, thought, feeling, and event is stored here, and not just from our lives, but from all souls and events throughout the expanse of time and space. This repository is not limited to passive records, it is dynamic. That means when we access this library, we are not just reading information, we are reliving and feeling the experiences, capturing the essence and emotions of each recorded moment. And to think that in the face of all this complexity, we evolved from a simple atom and have passed through mineral, plant, animal, astral, and mental consciousness. After all these metamorphoses, here we are, on the brink of a great precipice of understanding. Prepare yourself, for now we will take the leap to the final stage before joining the great supreme consciousness of God. And if in the Buddhic dimension, you were a drop that had merged with the ocean, with the main goal of the experience in that stage being to learn to experience your ocean here in Atmic consciousness, you are already the ocean. The focus now is on its expression. learning how to be an instrument of the divine will without any remnants of the ego or individuality. You and the Creator become nearly indistinguishable. The Atmic body is essentially the purest essence of divine consciousness. It's as if God or the great cosmic consciousness had detached a piece, and this first piece is the Atmic consciousness, thus considered your divine self, your higher self. In this stage, the phrase "made in the image and likeness of God" is not just symbolic, but acquires a profound and literal meaning. Here you are so close to God that you feel like the whole. But have you ever imagined what it's like to feel like everything that exists in the universe? Well, it's something inconceivable to our current state. This experience is so beyond human comprehension that our words and emotions fail to describe it. As we advance to the next phase, we are about to embark on the most sublime of journeys, the final and total union with the Supreme Consciousness, the return to the eternal embrace of God. Imagine a fish that has spent its entire life in an aquarium. How would you explain to it the sensation of being the entire ocean? It simply lacks the perceptual capacity to understand that experience. But the thing is, we have all been part of the ocean at one point, and now we are temporarily in this aquarium. And although we have other simpler things to understand within this aquarium, imagining what it's like to be in the ocean again is part of the essence of who we truly are. We try to comprehend God, but our efforts often merely skim the surface of our actions and philosophical assumptions. As much as we try to rationalize and understand what it's like to unite with God, it's something inconceivable to us. No rabbi, medium, priest, pastor, or guru will give you a ready answer for this, because the only understanding of God comes through the expansion of consciousness. So to truly understand Him, it's necessary to go through all those stages we've seen in this video. And to reach this expansion to the point of understanding and connecting with God, we need to first look within. And in doing so, we realize that the key to the infinite lies within each of us, knowing the possibilities our consciousness may one day reach. This only encourages us to explore our own little mysteries of life, and the knowledge from this video inspires us to be better people every day, evolving in pursuit of the total expansion of consciousness, making us one day part of the great consciousness of God. If you've made it this far, don't let this knowledge be restricted to just you. Share this video with people you would like to inspire to ascend with you. And to follow more videos like this, just click the subscribe button below. Thank you very much, and until next time.